Hello and welcome to the Road to World's Continental Showdown. I'm your host, Daniel Madison, and with me, as always, is my co-host, Greg Dillon. What's up, Greg?
Hello.
And our guest this week is the Chief Ambassador for the Continuing Committee, and he is organizing this weekend's North American Continental Championships. It's Jeremy Benedict.
How you doing, everybody?
Good to have you on the show. So we've got a double-sized show this week for Continentals because we've got this is the 1 week out of the month where we've got Continentals events on back-to-back weekends. So we're going to recap Australian Continentals that just took place, and then we're going to look ahead and start talking about North America. Uh, so first was Australian Continentals, and Greg, you were there, of course. Um, were with us last week for about half the show.
Yeah, at least I got to talk about Wani, the good one. I did
Yeah, we
better at
talked
that
about.
than Tui.
Yeah, we had Greg. Greg was actually live at the first day of events there, and we talked about Oney, and then he lost his internet connection, and we couldn't get him back. So uh, it ended up being a bit of a short show, but however, obviously Continentals did take place. So we are going to start with well, we'll start with triples first, just to get it out of the way. You guys had uh, a number of heats where people I didn't look at the results of all the heats and who qualified, but I saw that only four players actually made it into the final event. Was that because of everybody getting sick at the final day?
No. What happened was, so basically we'd have a qualifier, and then everyone would
Uh,
play, and we'd have, I think, two pods was the most. So whoever came first in those two pods qualified. Um,
right.
Over the four qualifying events, I think we had about eight eight or so people, maybe nine,
Uh,
that qualified. So the final was two pods, and then the top four from those two went into the final pod.
oh, okay. All right. I must have missed a step in there somewhere. I just looked at the final and it showed four people. So
Yeah.
okay.
Um, I played in three. I played in the first three, and I think I came second every time. Okay, in one of them I lost for like 16,000 triples, which was heartbreaking.
Uh, so you didn't make it to the final day for triples.
No, I did not. Yeah, by the final day though, I was a bit sick of triples, so I didn't play in the fourth qualifier. I played some other board games and card games instead.
Okay. Uh, well, incidentally, the winner of Tribbles Continentals was Daniel Waller. So congratulations to him because it was split up so much. I don't know how many people in total you had playing Tribbles for Continentals, but
Yeah, it would have
he
been
beat the field.
around 16 to 20, and in the final pot, I think it was 8 to 10, somewhere around there.
Okay, that's not too bad. Um, so yeah, let's talk about first edition. That was the second day of events because I think the first day you guys just had side events going on. You played some sealed.
Yeah, there was a
Um,
Wolf Speed and a Steel 2 event.
mhm. So yeah, so the second day you guys had. Am I still on?
Yeah.
My window just minimized. That's weird. Okay. Well, I'll keep talking. Um, yeah. So for first edition, you had 13 players uh, make it, or 13 played in the Continentals event, and we talked about this last weekend. It was, I think, 5 rounds. Was it
Yep,
5 rounds or 6 rounds?
it was five. It was five.
5 rounds. And you had a bye going in. And what deck were you running for this event?
I was using a Klingon Majora Resistance Cell deck. It was 6 planets with 3 Batleth tournaments, the Universal one, where I'd go get the Sword of Kalis, do Hero of the Empire, and then solve 3 missions for 140 points, while slowing the opponent down with Hero of the Empire.
Nice.
It worked really well against people that didn't know what it was doing, which is most people in Australia. Matt Ting did. He plays 1E too much. He still recovered. And Ben also beat me because he knew what I was doing. When I was building the deck, I was bouncing ideas off him, so he knew exactly how it worked.
So you went 3-2 altogether? Well, 2
Yeah,
and 2 and a
3 and
bye?
2.
Something
No,
like that?
I passed on the bye. Like I was saying, I was thinking about passing the bye to get a practice round in against hopefully a weaker opponent.
Oh, you
Because we
played it
had
out.
an odd number, I did pass my bye, so we didn't get another bye. And what ended up happening was I played Matt Ting in the first round,
Oh.
and he smashed me.
Oh. Well, you finished 4th out of 13, so that's not bad.
Yeah, modified win I had in last round, which was my own fault. I played the Phoenix a turn early, and then Steve flew over and blew it up. I ended up 138 points. Because of Darbo, I was 2 points off. I let the Phoenix get blown up. That was a stupid mistake. Yeah, and that cost me 3rd place.
Not too bad though. Still, a top 4 finish is pretty impressive. So what? Matthew Ting, who beat you in the first round. Matthew Ting went on to win the event. Did he go undefeated?
Yeah, he went undefeated. His deck was very good.
So what was he playing? I'm seeing Cardassians and Federation.
It was Federation Cardassian. He seeded Enterprise E, which was the 2E version for bonus points. So it immediately got destroyed. Relaunch got immediately destroyed because he downloaded the 2E version.
Okay.
And it doesn't have the property logo it needs.
Sure.
And then he proceeded to play pretty much every single Federation ship that can download a person. The Constitutions, the Mirror, each Universal Enterprise that can download people. And he got them out with Dom Perignons, which he got from Mavec, who Krell Mustet got. So it was pretty complicated, not easy to play, but Matt did it quite simply. And yeah, just had so many tools with going for the top to get out. Like Admiral Riker, who would get out an Enterprise, which would get out another Enterprise, which would get out a person, which would get out an equipment. Just stuff like that, where he'd just do a bunch of special downloads, which could happen during a mission attempt and just smash through any dilemma combo in one go.
Wow.
And yeah, the biggest thing was if he went second, he could actually do all of that before the opponent could get out of general quarters if they didn't already have one seeded. So like they didn't actually get an action response. They didn't have enough actions to flip over Q the ref, or to download Q the ref and then flip it over and get general quarters out. So I mean, it wouldn't really have mattered. I think he would have beat anyone comfortably. So yeah, it was basically he prepared for all the dilemma combos that everyone uses, like friendly fire, the medical stuff, and yeah, he just rolled over people.
Wow. Yeah, I'm looking. I've just loaded up his deck list. I'm looking at it now. Looked like Mavec seems to be an important card in the deck. He had 7 copies of it in there, so I'm guessing the idea is to make sure he draws into it early.
Yeah, he draws it because he gets the what is it, hologram door to get Chroma set off the Enterprise E with a
Yep.
space-time portal, and then so that's Chroma set. Then he just needs Mavec, and he can download all his Dom Perignons to get all the unique Enterprises out.
That's pretty nice. So he didn't. He did have one card. I'm like, did he even run any Cardassian ships? But he ran one. And he has a few other people in there. So I mean, it is still a treaty deck. So he gets this army out and just solver then, just a speed solver, and he smashes through dilemmas.
Yeah, so he didn't do any battle. Well, I don't think he did any battle. He was definitely prepared for defense. But yeah, he just go through, use special downloads to get whatever he needed at whatever point and do his missions really quick. Oh, and like stuff like ocular implants helped a lot.
Right. Nice. Well, congratulations to Matthew Ting for winning Continentals with this deck. Your brother Ben came in second in this event. And he was running a Romulan deck. Was this TNG Romulan or more of a traditional Romulan?
No, it was just a headquarters Romulan. No TNG. Oh, I was using TNG people, but yeah, it was just
no continuing mission.
No continuing mission. Yeah, just using all the Tel Shar people, free reports, and the senators and the generals, all that stuff. It was really simple. He just, again, he was like Matt, he prepared for the common dilemmas, so he had the two leadership people. Like, Naral's really, really good against the friendly fire combo. He's got two leadership, and he gives Tel Shar security. So.
Yeah, you talked about going to the top. That's one thing that I like about that is a card that I really like now that it's been errated. I've been using it a lot. The fact that it does get leadership ×2 means that you can very easily get somebody that can walk through friendly fire. And if you're playing a treaty deck, you can possibly 2 or 3 times per game you can get that done. Get a couple people that can pass that.
Yeah, that was another strength of Mass deck. Like, Federation have so many two leadership people. Like,
oh sure.
You put 9 in, and like say for the Kazon decks, you draw 1. And after that, the dead draws has only got like 1 person they can get, whereas Matt's got 9 people he could get with every going to the top.
But you are limited on how many times you can use it. It's like once per affiliation or something like that, I think.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah. Well,
I guess
errata.
Admiral Riker and Cisco from the Mirror Universe because he's not aligned.
Sure.
And
yep.
And Lega Damar.
There's a bunch of Cardassians.
I think it was Lega Damar.
Yeah, that's a good choice. Yep, and I'm looking at Ben's deck now. Or trying. It's loading. And filling out the top 4, Mike Nugent came in 3rd place, and he was running Dominion.
Yeah, this was predictable. I think
you did call that. I don't remember if you called it on the show. I think you did.
Yeah, in the last 5 years now, he's played Dominion 4 times. And especially with new arrivals, I knew he'd go back to his favourite affiliation. And it's one he's comfortable with. He knows how to play, he knows their strengths and their weaknesses. That's just a simple solve as well. He wasn't doing a battle fleet or anything either.
Right. Just set it up and go. I have to mention now, looking back at Ben's Romulan deck, the thing I noticed first about this deck is the 13 copies of Parallax Arguers.
Yeah.
Followed by the followed by the 11 copies of Kivas Fajo. So I see where he's going with this.
Yeah, you used that. Both him and I used that draw engine last year in our decks, and I think this is a very similar deck to last year. He didn't change it much. He likes it. Most people I found like online and in Continentals and stuff, they just let you play the event for free. They don't want you to get points. I mean, it's fair enough because with all the different bonus points around, like the Phoenix and the Whales and Darbo, giving people points, you don't actually know how many missions they're going to end up solving. So yeah, it's really easy to play free events with that.
Yeah, it's tough. You can't. It's hard to predict how many points you can safely give your opponent and not give away the game, if any at all.
Yeah.
Because you can very easily turn a three mission win into a 2-mission win. But that's a fun combo. So that was first edition. And you guys had 2 days of second edition, and I wanted to talk about day one first. You had 22 players for day one, and what were you running for day one?
I was playing OS, and it was OS deck where I played the Phoenix and causal recursion.
Okay.
To force the opponent into 4 missions.
Yep.
And then to help that out, I was using security precautions, which is an event from unnatural selection which prevents bonus points from being gained, and it's got a decay too.
Oh geez.
So that actually worked really well to prevent stuff like labor camp, distant exploration, and bonus points from events from destroying the causal recursion. And yeah, for most games, it definitely forced people into 4 missions. Where Ben beat me very comfortably because I'd playtested against him, and he realized like him doing 4 missions, I was always going to beat him, so he put in backcool challenges.
Okay.
And then just used them to beat me.
Yeah. So he got his own way around it. So Ben was running Klingons.
Ben was running a Rock Sword deck that he when he said he's going to play Klingons, he wanted to play Speed Solver because Gary, our father, played it last year and played a similar deck. I told him to just take one of Chris Sonstaby's deck, and he did. And then added backcool challenges.
Okay. So a mostly net decked draw deck, but he just added the challenges.
Pretty much, just that. Oh,
okay.
and Wolf.
All right. And yeah, you guys both made day 2. Your dad Gary also made day 2. He was running Relativity.
Yeah, he was playing Relativity. He's been playing that one for a while, so he's gotten pretty good at it, knowing the tricks and who his strong players are to get them out early.
Nice.
It is for the game. He played Mike Nugent on day 1. Mike was also playing Relativity, and Gary won in about 10 minutes because he put 2 Gomtus on Mike, and he couldn't win his Relativity. Oh wow! Because he was doing great barrier, so it had full range. He just couldn't go anywhere, so he was done. That was game over.
Wow. It's a risky ship. It's a risky affiliation to run. Or, I mean, it can run really well, but there are so many pitfalls that if you get caught into something like that, then you're just hosed.
Yeah, it was actually unfortunate for me that happened because I played Mike on day 2 on the first day. I ended up beating him, but I got 1 Gomtu on, and then he waited a full turn to try and draw more diplomacy so he could pass the next one. So I couldn't wipe him out.
Oh, gotcha. So he was prepared for it the next
Yeah.
time. So the top 8 went on to day 2, and Ben was the top seed after that after the first day with his Klingon deck. Like I said, you, your brother, your dad all got in. The the rest of the top 8 were Steve Hartman was running Dominion, Shane Brierly running a dual HQ, Klingon and
No, that's currently wrong. On day 1, he
oh,
played
is it?
Voyager. The dual
Oh, okay,
HQ was day 2.
okay. So it's just listed incorrectly. All right.
Yeah.
And Kenny Nguyen, I gonna pronounce that wrong, uh, was playing Bajoran Cardassian,
Yes.
and
Yeah.
and Mike Nugent, as you said before, was playing Relativity. So that rounded out the top 8. So you got to go on to day 2, and you changed decks for day 2.
I did. I had a different deck planned that I was missing 2 cards for. It was sort of an MBB Microwave rocket ship spin-off with OS Romulans, but I was missing 2 cards for it, so I couldn't play it. Because I only have 35 card draw decks. And yeah, so instead I played Ben's day 1 deck in the hopes that because what sort of happened was Steve Hartman wasn't sure he's going to be able to play in day 2 or turn up early enough to play in day 2. So if he turned up, I would have been on the right side of the bracket to then not face Ben until the finals. But because Steve didn't show up, I moved to the other side of the bracket and I would have had to face Ben in the semis. And yeah, so
I
it's
see.
okay. Steve
Yeah,
didn't turn
I'm
up,
looking.
and
I'm
I
looking. I see
couldn't.
that.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah, so basically Steve didn't turn up. I couldn't actually get to the finals with Ben. I would have to play him in the semis where Craig Giblett ended up playing him.
And Matt Ting was 9th, and he didn't make it either. It looks like the 10th seed actually got in.
Yeah, Matt passed down to Jay, I think. I'm not sure why
Jacob.
Matt didn't. I'm not sure of his full choices, but I'm aware. I know that on day 1 he was actually playing Jay's deck. Jay loaned him a deck, so I think he might have just passed down to let Jay go through because
Okay.
Matt doesn't care as much about Tui as he does Monday.
Right. So I'm looking at the bracket, but I don't understand the bracket. You played Mike Nugent first?
I did. I played Mike.
Okay, and Mike was again playing Relativity, and you were playing. So you played Ben's Klingon deck. You played the exact same deck.
I played the exact same deck with my own dilemma pile.
Oh, okay. Same draw deck, different dilemmas. All right. And it looks like you beat Mike, and you lost to Craig Giblett.
Giblet, yeah. In both games, I put in my tournament report. I made big mistakes where I could have solved the missions using the right cheaters like Bridge Officer Test and Riker, but didn't because I hadn't played the deck before that day. So Craig beat me by a turn because I didn't use Riker at the right time. There was still a dilemma face down the dilemma stack, and I thought, well, I'll wait for that one and see if I can do it. It ended up being overcosted, so I couldn't actually use Riker once I flipped it because he wasn't facing it. So that cost me the game. I wasn't too worried because I would have to face Ben next and he would have beat me. So that allowed Craig to go on and get beaten instead.
Yeah. Ben did beat Craig, and Ben went on into the finals against Shane, and so Shane was running Klingon OS dual HQ, and Ben was running Romulans.
Yeah, Shane's deck was another predictable pick. He plays that one a lot. I think every day too. Since I've started playing the game again, he's played that deck. And
It's
so
been very strong, especially in day 2 events. It's a very strong choice.
Yeah, I mean it's extremely fast. Like with the OS and then Alexander Janko getting more events, just it's so quick as just a solver, but it is fragile. Being dual HQ, there are a number of dilemmas that hurt it hard, like Unbelievable Emergency, and Final Adventure, as well as Ben's Flashing Eyes and A Legendary Civilization. It just broke the deck because it was too fragile.
So you got to watch you stuck around and watched the match?
We were playing a draft, so that was another reason I wasn't too worried about losing because it allowed me to go into the draft, which took too long. We had a couple too many packs, and there was a couple that hadn't drafted before, so that took far too long to actually do the draft. We only played one round, which I lost, and then after that I caught the second game of the final three.
Okay. Oh, they played 2 out of 3.
Yeah, they played best of 3 just in the finals, not the rest of the bracket. So yeah, Ben beat him in the first 2 games. Yeah.
So he won 2-0. Okay. So Ben Dillon won the 2E Continentals with the Romulans. So congratulations to him. So first place for Ben in 2E and second place total in 1E. It's got to be a pretty good weekend for him.
Yeah, it was very happy. It was surprised he did so well in 1E because like I said, it was the same deck he played last year. He hadn't even played since November in nationals. We thought for sure that Matt would win, and then Mike would probably beat us, and Steve would probably beat us as well. But turns out he got second in 1E as well.
Nice. Well, yeah, congrats to him. Overall, how did Continentals go? I mean, I know it sounded like some of you were under the weather toward the end of the event, but overall for the weekend, good turnout. Were you guys happy with it?
Yeah, it was quite good. With Steve taking over, I know he was a little worried about running it and having to take over the mantle from Matthias. But Steve did a really good job. We had, like I said, 22 for 2E, and I think Steve mentioned the best for Australia previously has been 24. I mean, those other two could be counted as the Clarks who quit last year or retired.
Yeah.
That also made it more interesting. Like when the Clarks showed up, it was very long odds that anyone should beat them. But with them gone, the playing field was much more level. Everyone was going in confident to day one that they could win. They could beat everybody else. So that made it. I thought the atmosphere was more tense, where everyone was confident that they could win, so they didn't want to be making any mistakes. But yeah, it was really good. Like it usually always is. One big improvement I liked was how Steve did the prizes. Previously, it's been the top 8 in 2E always got to pick the prizes first, and then the winner of 1E, which I never liked, particularly since I've been in 3 final competitions, so the top 2 for 1E for the last 3 years. But now he's changed it, so it's gone winner of 2E and then the winner of 1E picks, which I think is a lot more fair. And then it's like
that makes sense.
There's like the top 4 for 2E and then the top 4 for 1E, and then so it's more balanced instead of just giving all the 2E players the prizes first. Oh, yeah. And Steve bought these really awesome little trophies for each champion, which was great. Thank you, Steve.
Oh, nice. Really cool. So, I'm obligated to ask this. I know Charlie's going to wonder. Did you get your playmat?
I did. One sec.
Oh, he's going to show it. All right, guys. So for those of you that have not been to a Continentals and are planning on going, you have an opportunity to win one of these.
Yeah, so I got this for coming fourth in 1E. Ben actually plays hard on play, said to get 2, but he passed his down for 2E to the 5th place, so Kenny also got 1. So that made it so 9 people got them instead of just 8 and Ben getting 2.
Cool. I don't know if it showed you. I don't know if it showed you when you held it up. So can you do it one more time? I'm clicking on you to make sure that it focuses on you. I can't see it on my screen, but
yeah, they're pretty good. I've never actually had a playmat before, but I played a game against Ben. We both used ours, and I like it. It defines the space well, and like particularly, I don't know.
yeah,
It makes it really handy. You have to like.
it's a little small for first edition.
It is a little small for first edition, especially the decks I like to play. I had a triple side deck in my Continentals deck. It was a massive deck. But yeah, for 2E, it makes it you don't have to get a nice smooth table or clean or anything. You can just chuck this down, and then you're ready to go.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. I have a couple of Magic the Gathering playmats that I occasionally use with artwork from that, and last year I gave away one from the I had one with Borg artwork on it. It was from the Star Trek deck building game. I gave one away at one of my events. So they're really nice looking. They're all about the same size, and yeah, they're the perfect size for 2E. Because you just got your 5 missions and everything's taking place right there. You don't have a lot of extraneous cards or extraneous zones on the table. So yeah, like I was saying before, if you make it to one of the Continentals events, you have an opportunity to win one of these. If you win the Tribbles event, or if you placed in the top 4 of either first or second edition, then you'd be taking one of those playmats home. For example, the North American Continental event that's happening just this weekend that we're about to talk about with Jeremy.
Yes.
How's that for a segue?
I don't know. It's got 2 wheels and it stays upright or one, so it sounds like a segue to me.
So tell us about this event. This is Fantasy Flight Games in Minneapolis.
Yep. The Fantasy Flight Game Center is it's a company retail store that's actually right immediately next to where their headquarters is located. So, like you go down a few doors, you can see the warehouse racks and everything of all of their games that they've got in stock. So.
Nice. Do you guys start Friday?
Yep, we're kicking off Friday morning. I'm gonna double check my listings to make sure I don't have the time screwed up. We're having 1E Continentals on Friday. The qualifying starts at 10 o'clock in the morning. Store opens at 9. So, and I was gonna say for the sake of we're trying to get everything, we got a lot of stuff to pack in. So, planning 4 rounds for the qualifier, and then the top 4 will do single elimination starting around 6 o'clock in the evening. And then we've got a couple, the 2E draft starts at noon, and a team constructed event starts at 5 p.m. for 2E on Friday as well. So there's going to be something going on each day for everybody.
Awesome. I like that there's always side events going on, because especially when you have players that don't play both games, that there's something they can jump into.
Right, and even in some cases, I know it works out a little bit better with the timing on Saturday for 2E. But like I said, if things don't, there's enough of a break, or should be enough of a break after the first session, that if somebody doesn't end up in the finals for 1E and they want to play in the later event, they should be able to as well. And that's we try to do that intentionally, especially on Saturday. We're doing 1E OTSD sealed in the evening, so the top 8 from 2E will be playing, and then everybody else can do sealed 1E if they want. They don't even have to come prep a deck for it. We're doing block earlier in the day at noon.
So Saturday, you got 2E is Saturday, and you're doing the entire thing in one day also?
Yeah, same thing. If we're starting at 10:30 on Saturday morning for second edition, we're going to run 6 rounds, and then should be rolling right into a 6 o'clock start for the top 8 McIntyre bracket finals.
Nice.
It'll all be single games, so we're not going to do unlike Australia, we're not going to do a best 2 or 3 for the final, but it should, like I said, we're going to see, and it's also, since we're doing it same day, we're not for both first and second edition, we're not going to have deck switches between qualifying and playoffs. So, whatever you bring, and it's going to last you both through Swiss and elimination.
All the way through. Wow, so potentially 9 rounds of 2E in one day with the same deck. So that is going to be a grind.
It certainly will be impressive to see if somebody has to run the whole gauntlet of that. But like I said, this is, if you're going to win through all that, I think it's very much deserved.
Make sure you don't forget an important card.
Exactly.
Yeah. So what's happening with Tribbles? Is Tribbles on Sunday?
Yep, Tribbles will be Sunday, starts at noon, and that'll be, like I said, and obviously I know some people are going to have to take off early, or maybe not going to stay, which, we try to get all this stuff in, and it's just really hard to do it in a couple of days without, some people can only make the weekend, some, had to pick and choose, but yeah, so the Tribbles Continental, Sunday at noon, and like I said, and everybody that makes it into the playoffs for any of the 3 games is going home. Is going to go home with trophies. We do have a Tribbles trophy as well. I don't have it in front of me to show you, but the winner will take home the Tribbles Cup here. So.
Awesome. So I want to get into each of the events and kind of take a look at who's expected to show up, and even look at the buy situation a little and see how regionals have kind of prepared people. So I'm going to start with first edition, and I researched these events last night, so the pre-registrations may have changed a little since then. But let me see. As of last night, you had 13 pre-registered for first edition.
Yep, and that's still what I show now. So.
And that can very well improve. And of the 13 that are currently pre-registered, I know that 5 of them are on the buy list.
I'm looking at the buy list as well, because I can actually print up a list as tournament director. And yeah, that's from what I'm seeing. I see 5 names for people that I know will definitely be there or have pre-registered.
Yeah, I've got Michael Van Bremen was runner-up at American Nationals, so he's got to buy for that. Ken Tufts, Kevin Yeager, Jeremy Huth, and Chris Sonstaby, all regional winners for 1E, so they all have buys as well.
Yep, that's what I've got.
And North America, there's a lot more regionals have taken place there than in Australia. So the laundry list of potential buy holders is a lot longer, but I don't expect a lot of these people to show up because not as many people going to be traveling to Minneapolis, perhaps, as opposed to Worlds. But and also North America being a pretty big place.
Yep, true.
But I don't know. I mean, I don't know the situation as well. I expect that you'll have a greater number than what's pre-registered, but I don't expect as many of the buy winners to show up.
Right. Yeah, I'm not.
From what I have listed, from what's listed here.
Yeah, at least from what I've seen, the players that I can see that have buys for the first round. Yeah, I'm not seeing a lot of people that I'm expecting to make it, at least from what I've heard. Although, I mean, let's be honest, I would certainly be tickled if some of these folks showed up at the last minute or were able to make it and didn't want to. So.
Absolutely, yeah. Um, I see. I see some people that are pre-registered that I recognize as being from other groups, and like so it makes me curious if they're going to be bringing anyone from their play group along. That would certainly be cool. Um, but I also know that right there where you are, you have a pretty tough field of players right there at home. Although I think the majority of them are more 2E players.
Right, yeah, I know. First edition really kind of has taken back off in the last couple years, ever since block play got started.
Mm-hmm.
Justin Kaufman, who plays both games with us, but predominantly first edition, and is running the first edition tournaments, really, took the bull by the horns and got all of these people back together who had played in the past or who were interested and
Yep.
got into first edition and liked how the game worked versus 2E and yeah, we had the first edition tournament scene here is alive and kicking, and that's why I said last time we held Continentals in 2009 as well, and it was just second
Mm-hmm.
edition. We didn't have anything going on first edition at all at that point because we just didn't have anyone playing it. And to go, in the last 5 years from nothing going on to having a scene that kind of in some ways rivals the second edition numbers is amazing, and I'm just been absolutely thrilled.
Yeah, that's great to see. It's great to see people getting back into it and picking it back up. And in cases, picking it up and getting pretty good at it. Um, I'm looking at guys like Chris Sonsteby and Kevin Yeager have been really impressive playing 1E over the last year and a half since TNG Block came out.
Absolutely.
Um,
I know Chris would certainly tell you. I mean, he's got a long history of playing first edition going way back. But like I said, I think it's been real good. He's kind of had this renaissance with you know getting into kind of having these guys tug him back in a little bit, and came to the region or first edition regional last year, borrowed a deck, and ended up winning the event. And
yeah,
just the bug bit him real hard, and that's we've had a lot of crossover from some of our second edition players like Kevin, who certainly were around and had played the game, but really kind of started really feeling it again.
hmm um, yeah. Looking at some other names on the list. Matt Hayes is going to be coming in. He's had a pretty good run this year. Um, James Heaney, who I read a lot of his reports and his deck lists, and he's a great competitor. You got some good names showing up. It should be a great event.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it, and I said, uh, I'll be around the entire weekend, and so I'll probably get a chance to see a little bit more of this when the side events aren't going on than I will obviously when I'm running the second edition tournament the next day, and I'll have to be, adminning everything. But so I'm really excited to see, if in addition to the people that are pre-registered, if anybody else even joins that field, it's looking to be like you said, there's a lot of talent here. There's a lot of fantastic players. I'm excited to see what people are going to be playing and what the meta is going to be like.
Yeah,
Yeah,
me too.
definitely. So,
Like like I said, Kevin Yeager, he's won two regionals this year with battle decks or interference decks anyway. Um,
mhm.
and Ken, if he thinks battle will win, he'll play that. Chris will be ready to battle if he thinks it's going to happen. So I'm interested to see how people are going to deal with the threat of that. Whether they just switch to battle decks as well, or bring some different tech.
Yeah. Well, you know, right off the bat, Ken is going to be there, and Ken is a scary player, as anyone who's faced him knows firsthand. Ken, of course, already has a world championship under his belt. He's a very solid competitor. He just knows the game inside and out. So right there, he's one that's gonna be tough to beat. But there's a lot of other great players, and many of them having very good runs this year so far. Could be definitely going to be interesting to watch. So Jeremy, speaking as somebody that is not going to be participating in this event and just kind of a bystander, so to speak, do you have any expectations or of what types of decks you think you're going to see there?
I'm sure that's really going to kind of run the gamut. I mean, I know some of these guys from playing with them, and I mean, they've even kind of sucked me back into playing some stuff. I'll tell you, this is for the first time since, in probably over a decade, these guys got me playing constructed first edition. I'll pick up a sealed deck anytime, but to actually see me sit down and put a first edition deck together and try to figure out what I'm doing with it. But I mean, so a lot of these guys, a lot of them, I certainly know we're definitely going to see battle decks. That's, we've got people here that are known for combat. Some fast, lots of throughput with the deck, lots of fast play, free plays and all that. That's what I said, and I'm honestly, I think I would not be shocked to see some deck that we're totally not expecting. And I think I recall, recently hearing, like being in the chat room and hearing something about a Kazon deck doing really, really well and winning an event. So, I mean, nothing at this point is going to shock me.
They ended up winning 2.
Yeah, I was about to say.
Kazon won 2 regionals this year. Yeah, you never know. Maybe the Delta Quadrant will make a resurgence. Yeah, in fact, the last Kazon deck that won, I believe it beat a KCA deck in the finals. So
exactly, which is when I remember hearing somebody come on and say you had a finals between Kazon and KCA, and I'm going, okay, what universe are we living in now? Yeah. Mm-hmm. So, but
it's a universe where new arrivals made a whole bunch of decks better, a whole bunch of decks that weren't being played anymore, and that I think that has a lot to do with it, and that's going to be a very possibly a very impactful card. Maybe you'll see some of that.
Absolutely, and I would not. I suppose I would not be surprised to see one person possibly coming up with some Maquis. I'm not. So I don't know if we've had enough time to digest, but I mean, we certainly look like. I believe I saw there was at least one Maquis deck at Australian Continentals in the first day. So
yeah, I think you guys have one.
It was a Maquis, it was paired with Laws and non-aligned Borg fellas.
Okay.
Laws are the one. That's it.
Yeah, and I know certainly that there's going to be a lot of. There's going to be a lot of. I would also think that we're going to see a lot of stackable free plays as much as possible in all decks, not just across the board. Whether it's I've sat down across from Chris before, watching him playing Romulan back when you could stack that with the mercenaries and with all this other stuff and have like 9 ships on the table by mid game. So, I think we're gonna. I think there's gonna be some surprises. I'm gonna be real interested to find out, if people have been just tweaking the decks we've been seeing them play, or if somebody's just got a brand new, never before seen deck that's gonna shock everybody.
It could be, but I like that we're seeing a lot of different decks winning. We're seeing a lot of different types. There doesn't seem to be one type that's just dominating. Like I think the worry this year was that it was going to be Bajoran Resistance Cell, and yeah, we're seeing some of that, but it isn't just stomping everything this year. There's a lot of different decks making it to the top.
Yeah, I think with new arrivals, it allows a lot of other combos to work as opposed to just free play engines, like with support personnel downloads and stuff. I think
Mhm.
when Stefan won his regional with his deck, and also Matt winning Continentals, I definitely think Chroma Set is one of the most powerful cards around, because he gets you a free play and 2 draws, and it's not a free play, so you can still use your new arrivals. Um,
Yeah.
and it works with any Cardassian, like the 2E1s or other ones that come on board Central Command. Chroma Set's excellent, particularly when paired with Federations.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, and even without new arrivals, the Federation have plenty of play engines on their own.
Yeah, like OS and the
There's a number.
headquarters has been paired well together this year as well.
Mhm. Yep. 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 All right. So I'm gonna move on to second edition. Um, according to my cheat sheet, there were 18 so far pre-registered. Like I said, I expect that number will probably go up.
I might expect one or two more. Like I said, but most of the people, even locally, that I know who are talking about coming out to play, I see on the list. So I certainly wouldn't be shocked to see a couple more. One in particular, I know that there's at least one player from South Dakota I'm not seeing on the list who is coming, and who because I know I've got all the I know everybody that that purchased the weekend that bought the kits ahead of time, because I had to come up with these badges like the one that I'm flashing the camera right now that all the people that signed up in advance are going to get. So I know the people who say they're coming anyway, and I know there's at least one second edition player I don't see on that list. So I'm a nice round 20 would be great. I know initially when they asked us how many people to expect, we were kind of saying, for something like this, we might have somewhere between 24 and 32 people between the two games. That's about where we're sitting. So I'm really pleased with the turnout that I'm seeing so far.
Yeah, that sounds pretty good. Like I said before, your play group out there is a much stronger 2E play group. You have several former world champions that are going to be at this event. Very, very tough field. And just looking at the buy situation of the pre-registered players, you have 8 that haven't earned buy.
Yes, we do. Said Nate Weiniger, who I'm kind of referring to as our amazing race contestant here, because he's flying in that morning to come play with us. So I'm certainly gonna do whatever we can to help make sure that he gets there.
And he just slid in there too. He won a regional on the last week.
Yeah, he won the RISA regional.
Mm-hmm.
So like I said, we've got him. We've got Matthew Hayes, Steve Nelson, and Matthew Freed.
Yep.
Let's see, Kevin Yeager, I've got, who I see is going to be there. Michael Van Bremen, who was runner-up at Worlds. Got Ken Tufts and Amber Van Bremen, who are both who are champion and runner-up at Canadian Nationals, respectively.
Yep. So those regional wins and those high regional placements, they do matter. That first win, that's that earned buy. That's a free 100-point differential. Differential matters a little bit more now, or it might possibly. You're trying to crack into the top 8 for day 2. That's a very important win, and that's an hour break too for you.
Right, exactly. And I mean, I've certainly even heard in the past of, certainly at Gen Con, and sometimes where you always kind of have that question at the last minute of, am I going to take the earn buy and get that extra break and come in second round not having played, or do I just want to go for it? And I don't think I've really ever seen anybody turn it down, but maybe now could be the first time. That would be interesting if somebody really wants to go for it. But yeah, I mean, really, there's no reason not to.
Well, there's reasons. If you want to get like Greg said, if you want to get some practice with your deck in, and have a reasonably good chance of getting someone that didn't earn a bye already, if you if you feel pretty confident about it, you're trying to squeeze out a few more ratings points, I guess.
Right. Although, I mean, certainly looking at the field we've got here this year, I'm not entirely certain if you're going to get thrown into a first round mix against anybody on that list. I'm not entirely sure I'd be confident, at least personally, against anybody.
If I'm going into this field, yeah. I unfortunately couldn't make it out there. I really wanted to, and I do have an earned bye. If I were going into this field, I would definitely take it. Yeah. Even the players that don't have an earned bye, I'm afraid to face most of these names.
Yeah. And to be fair, I certainly would be, if I was not running this event, would certainly play in it, of course, especially by proximity. But being able to look on as an observer and look at this, I'm kind of looking at this list as a proverbial murderer's row here and going, yeah, I'm not entirely sad that I'm going to be judging and not participating in this.
Yeah, that's how I felt last year when I was at Continentals at Gen Con, and I decided to pass on 1E and played like a 2E sealed event instead, and just felt a lot calmer about it and not worrying about playing 4 straight rounds against Borg decks, because that happened to somebody.
Yes.
But there is the drawback though. If you do take the bye, that means you're going in with you're taking your fresh deck into round 2, and you're either playing against somebody that just won or somebody that won a tournament already.
Exactly.
If they are also coming in with a bye. So it's a tough call, but yeah, I would I'd take any win I can get.
Oh yeah, absolutely, and especially like you said, in a scenario where differential can come into place, definitely. Why not? It's like I said, if you're getting full credit for that round, absolutely go for it.
Oh sure. Now that the tiebreakers have changed a little bit, differential has moved up a space. Yeah, it you never know, it might matter.
Right, and to be fair too. Well, right, and the top tiebreaker being strength of schedule. After head-to-head really makes even more sense, because the earned bye is also count as a full strength of schedule, whereas a standard bye for an odd number event counts as 0.
Right. Right. That's something you definitely want. It looks good on your record when it comes time to factor that in, figure out that strength of schedule score. You were saying you're not feeling too sad about sitting this one out. I'm sure there's a much bigger difference in TDing like a 6-player tournament, even a regional, than there is running a 20-plus player event.
Oh, absolutely, and from experience, I know I had the fortunate experience a couple years ago of being pulled into playing in a regional where we had 17 players, and there would have been an odd number bye, and they said, by the tournament code, I'm not supposed to do that, and everybody in attendance pretty much unanimously overruled me and said, we'd rather have you play than have a bye. We'll help you. And yeah, trying to record and run 9 games while playing at the same time was insanity, and I don't wish that on anybody. just trying to keep everything straight, not make math errors while you're trying while at the same time you're trying to focus on your own Trek game.
If that ever happens, I don't recommend it. But if you're ever forced into that situation, I would hope that with that many players, you'd at least know your players enough to have a good secondary guy out there that can help make rule calls, and help you record scores if necessary. I'd imagine if you have that many players, there's bound to be a couple other people there with some TD experience.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, typically there is at least 2, 3, maybe even 4 other people who've run tournaments available, and it in a lot of cases, like if something like that's going on, like people like Chris and Justin will pretty much they'll just jump in. It's like I don't even have to ask. We'll just have somebody go, oh yep, I can take care of scoring these, or I'll handle stuff when I can when you're playing and when I can't do that. And also, I mean, typically, if I have to run and play an event at the same time, I can run a clock separate for whatever game I'm playing in. Where if I have to go away for 2 minutes to look up a ruling real quick, then I'm not going to short my opponent the time just because it took a little longer than a yes or no.
Right. Yeah, that makes sense. That's only fair to your opponent. And that's sometimes is a reason not to play in it too, because if your game does run, or if some of the other games do run to time and you guys are still you have a few minutes extra, that delays the whole event while everyone waits on you guys to finish up your time.
Right, exactly, and to be honest, like I said, the more we can get through things quickly without having things run extra long, the better. Again, past regionals, I think the first time that most of the Iowa players came up for a Minnesota regional 2-3 years ago, or probably 3-4 years ago now, I ended up, I believe we had 20 players, and I was not playing in that match. We still had 18 to 20 people playing, and I think it took either until the last round or the second to last round before we even had a modified win. We had full wins, full losses. It was the easiest thing I've ever had to score.
Nice. So like I said, a lot of players, a lot of regional winners here already coming in with buys. A lot of top names, a lot of high rating players already pre-registered for this. What are you expecting to see? What's going on in your meta right now?
We've got a little bit of everything going on, at least in the meta here right now, and people are always cooking up some really new, unexpected things. There's players that have come up with dilemma combos that I've never imagined would be effective. People that are, I've seen, in the last year. I remember last year's Continentals. Nat Curtin had a deck he was running that was focused on reducing attributes on personnel, and was, it didn't matter. I mean, even when you were playing decks with 7 or 8 for stats, all of a sudden your personnel are becoming 4s, 5s, and 6s or lower, and you're trying to make, when normally you could make do on a handful of people, now you got to go with a full complement of like 8, 9 personnel just to get through it. Obviously, I expect, especially in any tournament that goes over 4 rounds, I would definitely expect to see a lot of speed decks. Certainly a lot of fairly straightforward solvers without a lot of frills, but I'm especially when you're roping in here that they're also going to have to run against elimination if you do well enough. That really changes the scope of things too, and I certainly think that some interference or denial decks are going to have potentially, even as long as they can make it in the top 8, they're going to have a much easier run going single elimination and single game. But really, at that point, if you're when you're not talking about match play, even when it's a win as a win, you're gonna have to get the job done. You're not gonna be able to rely on a deck that can't get you there, especially if it's not going to get you into the top 8.
Yeah, you can't build. You don't have the advantage here, like in other events, of building a deck for day two. You have to build a deck that's got to get you to day two, and something that's going to stay strong going into
Absolutely.
those final events. Um, no, like I said, I'm not. I said before, I'm not going to make predictions for the Continentals events. We're just kind of looking at the field as a whole and speculating a little bit. Um, like I said, there are the world champions on this list. There's national champions on this list. Just looking at the previous year's results, you've got, like you just said, Ken won Canadian Nationals, and Ken's an interesting story because Ken hasn't been playing 2E for very long, only about a year and a half. Like he kind of just picked up 2E and said, you know what, I want to play some more games, earn some more achievements, and picked it up, practiced, got really good.
Sure, and let's be fair. A lot of people that have played this game a long time and came up from 1E into second edition can, there's a lot more that transfers over between the two games than I think some people think.
Mm-hmm.
And being great at one does not necessarily mean being great at the other, but it certainly can teach you a lot more about the interplay between the cards and what to look for
Sure.
when you're putting a deck together.
Sure. I've got to say also that Kevin Yeager looks like a heavy favorite this year. He's having a fantastic year so far. He's won 5 regionals just this year, and I think 3 of them were second edition. So
yes, Kevin swept all 3 of the Andoria regionals up here for second edition this year.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, he's definitely gonna be somebody to reckon with, especially with with the kind of playing chops he's got. And again, like you said, we've got at least from the pre-registered, we've got 3 world champions on there. I'm picking out continental champions, national champions, certainly obviously regional winners, and I mean anybody on here. Not even to discount some of our newer players like Henry Freed, who's Matthew Freed's son. Matthew Freed's the first 2E world champ.
Yep.
He brought Henry to an event that we did back in the fall for our league where we were doing Premier only, and he was ready. I mean, he pretty much had every card. He knew pretty much everything what the major decks were. Some of us were trying to make sure that he understood what was going on, and he was like, "Yeah, no, I got it." Yeah, so he certainly. They said he's only played in a couple of events, but he knows what he's doing, and he's got one hell of a coach behind him. So really, I mean, I can see anybody on this list in the top 8. I can see pretty much anybody on the list of pre-registered and the people I know that's coming who could take the whole thing.
And I'm looking at the buy list. This is also a bit, especially if you are planning a trip to Worlds, which is coming up in just over another month, or just about another month. If you're planning a trip to Worlds, this is an event that doing well at will feed into Worlds. I don't totally understand the buy situation until I actually saw how events were feeding into things. And now that Australian Continentals is in the books, if I remember right, the top 2 for 1E and 2E, the top 2 players each get the first round buy at Worlds, and I think the winner actually gets a 2-round buy. In addition to the previous year's World Championship.
I'm pretty sure that's correct.
I believe so, and yeah, I can confirm that. But that sounds about right to me. So
I think that's right. So especially it's especially big for North American Continentals, as a lot of the players going to this one are already close enough to Worlds that this would be a big deal for them if they can pull out a Continentals win or even a runner up and kind of ride that momentum into World Championships at Gen Con.
Oh, absolutely. And I did confirm. I was looking up the organized play guide we were talking. That is the case. First place gets two rounds earned buys. Second place will get a round 1 buy for both first and second edition.
Yeah, and I think the previous world champion also has already has a built-in 2-round buy.
Yes,
for the next Worlds.
That's also correct. Yeah.
And I think he's going to be there, but we'll get into that when we get to our World show.
Yeah, I told people, I said I certainly understand in a lot of cases there were many people when I talked to ambassadors and when I talked to other folks about North American Continental said, it's got to be this or Gen Con, and some people couldn't do both, and I said, I completely get that for whether it's for a variety of reasons, whether it's time, money, whether other things are going on, certainly get that, and I said, hey, not to take down Continentals a peg, but really if the choice is between us or Gen Con, I don't think there's too much competition with Gen Con there, other than I certainly would love to have people here.
Yeah, but still, if you're looking at the world's picture, if you're planning on going there, and you're looking to go to both, this event could be a very big deal for you.
Oh, absolutely, and that's I would pretty much looking at the list we've got, I would certainly expect in at least a high number of these cases to see whoever finishes at the top of this Continentals. I would think will probably be showing up at Worlds. So
that's very possible, and if it's somebody that's close enough that from your area or from somebody nearby, and perhaps if they weren't considering it before, perhaps maybe a win this weekend will change their mind, or at least make them reconsider a little.
That's true.
So I'm just about ready to wrap up, but Jeremy, do you anything else you want to plug before we wrap up, or you want to say anything else about the event?
Well, first and foremost, it's been gorgeous here. I think Friday there might be a chance of rain in the morning, but it's been a little cooler than normal here this week. Today was in the 70s. It's supposed to be like upper 70s, low 80s. A little cooler than normal, but gorgeous July weather in Minnesota for anybody making the trip. Fantasy Flight has been really good to us, and Dave Johnson, the retail manager, and Brian Bornmuller, who's kind of the head of the retail operation and marketing, have been super great to work with. Obviously, we've had a good working relationship with them, playing at the store already, but they were just tickled to have us there. Couldn't have done this without them. And I can't thank them enough for everything they've been doing. God, I mean, there's just so many things to plug. We've just been looking forward to this. We've been planning this since back in January, making phone calls and visiting people in person, getting all this set up. Pretty much, like I said, I think almost all the prize support is in. I've been looking over the stuff we got. I think that everybody who's playing in either of the 1E or 2E Continentals or possibly triples as well, I think everybody's going to be really pleasantly surprised with some of the things that we've come up with for this. And kind of like I said, best we've got. Well, I'm a little partial. I think that the North American Continental Triple Cup is a pretty damn cool prize. Again, I'm a little biased in that. But I think and I will spoil one thing, which should probably get a few people real wild, is that first I've got a sealed box of reflections here, which will get cracked open for here for the first edition folks. So I think they're going to be real excited about that. And I think too we would feel a little bit left out if we didn't do the same. So so hopefully everybody who's listening can get a little bit pumped about that. I think that was both a pleasant surprise and a good grab for us and the people that helped us get it. So
that sounds really cool. So yeah, that sounds exciting. Can't wait, and I can't wait to hear about how it went. Next week we're gonna do the recap show. I'll get my little plug in that we do these Wednesday nights at 11:30 Eastern. We got just a few more left. We're gonna keep running through July as we talk about recapping North American Continentals next week and start talking about European Continentals, which is coming up later in the month, and we'll probably get a couple of World shows in August as well. If you are interested in being a guest and talking about Continentals with us, then send me a PM on the forums at OK Coyote. I'm trying to give preference to people that are actually going to be at the event. That might be a little trickier with European Continentals because of the time difference, but we'll see what we can come up with. But next week, hopefully, we can get a player or two on that made it out to North American Continentals and be able to talk about the weekend. And I'm excited for you. I'm looking forward to hearing about it. I hope you guys have a great event.
Oh, I certainly hope so, and I certainly look forward to hearing, like I said, if whether it be, hopefully, like I said, hopefully get some participants, or otherwise, I'd certainly be glad to debrief with you as well, and I think it's going to be a great weekend. And before we get too far away here, I've been doing a little chief ambassador work here in the background, and I've got an exclusive tidbit / spoiler for you. To share for the upcoming second edition release.
Really?
And this is very early info, and it's just going to be it's a title spoiler for a card, but it's also a puzzle, sort of. I'm not going to tell you what it is, but I will say that there is a card in the next second edition expansion coming out that shares a title with a first edition card that's currently on the ban list for OTF.
Ooh. Well, that narrows it down to about 50.
50 cards, cool. And might be something we have already, might not be. It's something on the list, though. So.
This is the upcoming Project Martha, then.
Yes, yeah, Project Martha, as I've been told. Yep.
As it's currently being referred to. All right, sounds cool. Well, Jeremy, thanks for being on the show. Really enjoyed having you here.
Oh, thanks for having me on. Glad to be there. And for those of you that are going to be there, I'll see you this weekend at Continentals. And for the rest, keep an eye on the site and on the forums. And I'll try to keep up live as much as I can while I'm running things, if possible. I'll have my computer there to post as things go.
Sounds good. We'll definitely be paying attention, and actually, I think a lot of players are going to be online on the site this weekend because we do have the raffle drawing on Saturday. I think that's at 10 a.m. Pacific, so you guys should be right in the thick of things. So we'll probably be keeping an eye on you as well.
Yeah, probably right somewhere around round 2 or 3 at that point. So.
All right, sounds good. So, Jeremy, once again, thanks for doing the show, and Greg for coming on here and co-hosting as always, and also for debriefing us on Australian Continentals. Sounds like that was a lot of fun as well.
Yeah, thank you. It was really fun.
All right, so for Jeremy and Greg, this is Daniel Madison, ending transmission.